A very important Killer Instinct review drops. We talk about Tron buyer and non-buyer regret. And I don't know about you, but it's time to fly. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and another episode of This Week. Slight hiccup. I apologize. I had an issue, so I ended up ending that stream and had to quickly put together another stream. But luckily, I am a man who is quick on his feet. Well, sometimes. Thank you so much for stopping by. A lot going on this week and coming up next week. Trying to get over Thanksgiving and get right back into another vacation mode, which is Christmas. Can't wait for Christmas. Can't wait to wrap up what's left of my work year and then get into my vacation. I'm going to Canada next week. Maybe. It's not exactly easy to get in that country. So that's kind of my plan for next week. And as far as your plan for this chat, check up at the top of it. We have a new poll. And basically what I'm asking you is this. Now that Twisted Chris's review is out, one of, the most important Killer Instinct reviews out there that could have possibly happened, who is now going to pre-order Killer Instinct at $6.99? I'm talking about not who's going to buy it eventually, because I think a lot of us are going to buy it eventually. I'm waiting for that second SKU or some awesome sale myself. 500 is really where I want to be at. Maybe 530. We'll see. But that's where I'm at. But I'm talking about who is now, once we know, now that we know what we know, who is going to pre-order that cabinet at that nice sticker price of $6.99. Anyway, so that's what we got going on. So far, please respond to that poll. Let your voice be heard, and we are going to check on that at the end of the stream. The bourbon for tonight. I have a story to tell, but I'll tell you what I'm drinking first. So Jim Beam Double Oak, pretty good. This is about a $25 bourbon. It's not bad on the rocks. No cork. And you know my thing about corks, right? If it's got a cork, it's good, right? That's just kind of rule of thumb. No cork on this. Jim Beam doesn't do a lot of corks. So it's just a twist on lid. I almost had a winner. Well, I don't know if it's a winner. So I go up to the counter to buy my bourbon, and I see Weller right behind the counter. A bottle of Green Label Weller. I think it's the reserve and the special reserve. And if you know anything about bourbon, Weller is really, really hard to find. Just can't find it. And I was about to say, ho, never mind this. Give me the bottle of Weller that MSRP retail price is like $25-30. And then I saw the price, $70. And I said, you know what? Let's just stick with this for now. So scalping, high prices, that's everywhere. It's not just trying to find that PS5 console. It's not just trying to find that, Star Wars cabinet out there for a reasonable price. It's also bourbons too. Scarcity kind of drives the price. And that's not a pandemic thing. That's a bourbon thing. I don't know. Weller is just kind of a weird brand, always hard to find. So if you see some, don't automatically get it. It's not always a good deal. So make sure you do a little bit of research before you do that. Just like these RK1-Up cabinets. Let's see what's going on with the chat. Once again, man, I do apologize for that little hiccup I had. I have my audio all set up for my live game streaming, and it just kind of messed me up. So I had to transition quickly. Hopefully some of those other people that were on that stream will jump over on this one as well. Zod Rider, first out the gate, a nightlight is just as cool as Tron and a lot cheaper. It's a simple solution and avoids the FOMO aspect altogether. I think if you lock yourself in a room with a straitjacket for about a week, once everybody gets their cabinet and once everybody gets their reviews and all that gets out of their system, then you can be released from the psychiatric ward $700 richer, or, well, the $700 stays in your pocket. Anyway, yeah, just do what you got to do to avoid the FOMO. Let your head kind of settle, and then, you'll love / hate yourself in the morning. I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I mean, it is what it is. If you're still going to pay $700, doesn't matter if you pay it now or later. We'll talk about that a little bit more in detail. Down the road, Curtis's Heartcade sigh. Yes, John Zod Rider. Thank you for beating the dead horse on that joke. Yes, well, it's a good joke. It makes a lot of sense. Hello, Polo. Hi, everyone. Hi to you. What's going on, Chris Emerson? Good evening to you all. Good evening to you, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're enjoying what's left of the weekend. Hope your weekend was great. Do we have our bourbon ready? I do. Do you? Definitely got to get that bourbon. Got a great show for you tonight. Second try. It's the second one. Sup, Chris from Tim Hudson. He says, "Sup with you? Is Fox having some technical?" Yes, I had some technical difficulties. I had to jump ship from that stream. That stream is no good anyway. We didn't like that stream. It was bad internet vibes going there. So we didn't want that one. Didn't want that one. Didn't want that anyway. It wasn't right for us. Okay, now we're on a good stream. We got a good little flow on this internet signal, and this is where we wanted to be anyway. It's all part of the plan. If you close your eyes and don't look at it at all. Mike Hawkhurts, everyone watching NXT, don't know what that means. Buffering, yes. Buffering, video rehash, yes. Buffering, I believe so. Saying going live at 9:15 now. Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah, I had to jump over. And then I ended up, just going live a little bit earlier, so it wasn't quite 9:15. I'm talking a little bit now to kind of let everybody get back in. I see the numbers are coming back up. Make sure you smash the like button while you're here. Really do appreciate it. Helps out the stream. And if you could do me a little special favor, because I had my mess up here, can you help me out and maybe, share this new stream with everybody? If you could just hit the share button and get it out there so they know that, hey, there's a new link. I just, once again, kind of help me, make up for my, screw up here. Really would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Do appreciate it. Got some cool, I don't know. I think I have some cool stuff to talk to you about, but that's just me. Really, really interested in what y'all have to say about this. Let me pull up a few things here. I got to get some slides ready for you. No, don't get out of here. Not yet. Jeez. What are you doing? Stay back there. Sorry, he gets a little excited. So we're going to get to that in just a second. But we got some interesting stuff to talk about tonight, because I'm not just about complaining. I want to provide a solution. We're going to talk about solutions. Definitely. Where were we over here on the chat? We got 2 Mile Arcade LLC. There's a rumor going around that Arcade One Up will have 15 to 25 cabinets next year. What's your thoughts? I think that Zohar is just no, that wasn't Zohar. Who was that? It was the you're talking about the phone call. You're talking about the call in to Justin's live stream. 15 to 20 cabinets, 25. Listen, 15 cabinets at $700. I mean, I don't have 10 grand extra laying around, or what, 20? What is that? Was that 14 grand? That's insane. Quality over quantity is what I always, fall back on. So if they're 20 great cabinets, or just good solid cabinets of games that I want, or you want, or that person wants over there, as long as there's a market for it and they're good quality, I ain't got no problem with it at all. I am not the type of person that's going to buy every cabinet that they come out with. I'm not going to do it. I only have so much space. I only have so much cash. So I think it's important that we keep all that in perspective. But I think that more can be better, because that means that more people are getting what they want. It's not just the niche, right? It's not just a sliver of people that are just getting what they want. It's not all the Capcom, the CPS2 crowds getting everything they want and nobody else gets what they want. It's not just the Midway crowd getting what they want. It's everybody else getting what they want also. So that, that's nice. I mean, I think that's good. That's great for that's great for everybody. But if they're 20 cabs that are maybe the rehashes, or maybe the quality continues to dip, this mass production can be a good thing. It could be a really, really bad thing. And I think we see some of the issues. We're going to talk about some of these issues in a minute. From a person who knows all about Killer Instinct, but maybe they don't know all that much about Arcade One Up, because some of these things we've been dealing with for quite a little while. So as long as the quality is there, the quantity can be what it's going to be. If you can't maintain decent quality, then you need to cut back on the quantity. And I think that you could definitely kick out. Listen, if you did one a month, that's still 12 cabinets. That's still a lot of cabinets. Not counting variants. And what may be part of that rumor is a variant here, a variant there. What I mean by that is Marvel vs. Capcom in a stand-up and in a cocktail cabinet. It's technically different, but it's the same game, just different form factors. So that's 2 cabinets. They might count as new. But I think in my opinion, it's kind of like one. So, but that's just like I said, could be good. Could be. Take 2, yes, take 2. Take 2 hopefully is better than Take 1, which was pretty much non-existent, right? Thanks for jumping over here. Help me out. Happy holidays, everyone. Yes, New Jersey Devil 1525. I agree. Everybody, happy holidays. Hopefully you've enjoyed it thus far, and we're looking forward to a great month. sadly, not a lot of Arcade One Up releases in this month. You know, if you spend all your money in January to pre-order all this stuff, you're not going to see any of it until next year. Kind of a mixed bag, right? Kind of a mixed bag. So I got some stuff queued up here. We're going to talk about. I'll let the cat out of the bag just a little bit. I think hold on. What? Let me scroll down here. I think I may have there it is. Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger. I almost missed your super chat. I do apologize, man, but I got it. Hey, Fox, happy to be here, man. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for the content. You're very welcome. What cab from Arcade One Up do you want from them in the future? Okay, I really want Batman 89. Also, Guitar Hero would be amazing. We're going to get to that in just a second, but thank you so much for your $10 super chat. Man, that's awesome. And of course, I got to give you a little bit of Dragon Ball Z. So here you go.
You're done. You're finished. How dare you? How dare you? You and this planet are as good as space dust! Kamehame! Kaioken Force! No! He's beating me!
Thanks again for the $10 super chat. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to get to my one of my cabs that I really got to have. And I think it's actually direction we might see Arcade going in a second. So I don't want to spoil that. But I promise I'll get back to that question for sure. Tony C, what's going on? At $6.99, KI should have been perfect. Twisted Chris finding any is not okay. True. That's a good point. A lot of people feel that way. Welcome to the chat. New? Yes. Welcome to the chat indeed. Ryan Garber, what is going on? Messing with a man's bourbon? Yuck. I know. Well, you know, it's what it is, right? It's what it is. Bozo Calvin Jr., my brother. What's going on, man? I did enjoy Twisted Gamer TV. I truly like his true thoughts about both versions of both machines. I thought that, and we can go ahead and just segue right into his review. I thought that was a person poised to completely trash Arcade One Up. Not a big fan of Arcade One Up. And listen, to be honest with everybody, every arcade purist, and I was kind of a part of that crowd for a little bit, I think. If you're trying to say this is an arcade machine and that's your background, you're like, no, this is a cheap knockoff. It's an imitation. It's all, you know, it's insulting to what an arcade really is. And I get that perspective, but I just don't see it that way personally. So this guy also not only an arcade fanatic, a purist for sure, an authority on Killer Instinct, an authority. Just one of those people that if you got a question about Killer Instinct, arcade version, KI1, KI2, he's who you go to. That's who you talk to get your answer. Flat out, period. There it is. You know, there's no two ways about it. So this person was poised to just rip them up and down. Got the cabinet for free. And, you know, no loss, right? No skin off his teeth. He could do whatever he wanted to. He probably could have got a lot of views if he really poured on the hate, too. Lost it. Didn't do that. Seemed to be pretty fair, pretty straight up. And some of the problems that he's had with his machine or something, you know, the problems we've had with our machines also. Not the greatest. What's up, Demanjana, brother? How you doing? Thanks for stopping by. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't out of the ordinary, really. I mean, honestly. But I think we all hoped that would be some of these problems would be resolved for $7.99. Oh, I'm sorry, $6.99, $700. Oh, I shouldn't say $7.99 too loud. Oh dear God, they might get an idea. Arcade One Up, I was just joking. They got camera. Oh, I'm on YouTube. Damn it, crap. Anyway, moving on. So number one, the marquee was an issue, and I did a video about that on my channel a couple days ago. Check that out. His issue is founded. You know, it's well documented. You know, like I said, once again, it's $6.99. It shouldn't be an issue. $6.99. It should not be a problem, but unfortunately, it still is. And you know, at this point, they should not be that way. So my video was sort of, you know, agreeing with Twisted Gamer, backing him up a little bit and saying, listen, yeah, this is it, right? And look at all my Arcade One Ups, and here's my example. But I also listed a way to fix it. It is possible to fix it. It is possible to take your stock One Up, lit marquee, and make it better. but that's money out of your pocket. And I think the question at the end of my video was, if you pay $700 for something, do you want to have to fix it? Do you want to have to improve upon it at all? Or you just want it to do what it's supposed to do right out of the box? He talked about the artwork, and I'm not even going to go into all the details because I don't want to spoil his review. And I think Twisted Chris actually does a better job of describing the differences between not only the artwork, but the process in which it was made back then versus now. So there's a lot of nuance there. Definitely go check out that review if you haven't already to get his take on that, because I think it's not just a complaint. To me, it's an informed discussion. It's an informed criticism. You know, some of that stuff can't be fixed because of the way the process that we print now is just different. The audio is still an issue. Audio noise is a problem. Audio volume seems to be not sufficient, not consistent. Also bass, which I don't think anybody's expecting a ton of bass, but it's also, if the Bose Wave Radio taught us anything, speaker placement is also the key. So if you've got an underpowered speaker, just placing it in any old orientation is not going to give you the desired effect. Case in point is the 2-player countercades. If you have one, if you've seen my review and others' review, because they've got that speaker facing down, just the way that those sound waves bounce towards you kind of under the cabinet, it simulates bass. It sounds better. It sounds much, much louder than I think it actually is, but it's that speaker placement. So that's an issue. I actually have a video coming up next week that I'm not going to say it's a plug and play fix, but it's a plug and play workaround. So be on the lookout for my video on that. And then one thing he really talked about was the controls, which I think we all know the controls are not what they could be. They're not what they could be. I'm not talking about what they should be, because this is a smaller form factor. You know, it's a cheaper unit. You could argue that, well, they should be cheaper. They should be crap, right? It's RK1. You know, this is a 3/4 scale machine, 3/4 scale quality. Argument could be made, sure, I guess, but that doesn't really make a lot of sense, especially when you're talking about something so crucial to the gameplay experience. I say that they're not what they could be, because it's actually possible to have much better controls in your Arcade1Up from Arcade1Up without you having to do a damn thing. So let's talk about SanWa controls inside an Arcade1Up. They've done it before. They've actually done SanWa controls before. There's a cabinet that I purchased. I actually had to grab this thing secondhand. I missed out on it the first time around because they only made 8,000 of these. Second or third most rare cabinet they ever made, I think, or limited, I should say. So one of 8,000 ever made, came with SanWa controls, and it was actually the Marvel versus the Marvel Superheroes cabinet. It had the 3 games in it. Had Marvel Superheroes, X-Men, Children of the Atom, and it had Punisher, which was like the killer app. Everybody wanted that. So I got the countercade, and then I found somebody that had this in excellent condition, had the paperwork and all that. So it was great. But I was really, really curious about those SanWa controls. Does it make that much of a difference? And it does. It really does. So then the question is, well, how did they get that in there? What kind of crazy workaround did they have to do to get those SanWa controls inside that cabinet? Must have been crazy. They charged a lot of money for it. Must have been nuts. What did they have to do? Well, let's break down some of what they had to do. So if you're not familiar with controls, control decks themselves. And as I talk, I'm going to try to pull up a picture. I had some of this preloaded in my other stream, but unfortunately, let me cancel that. Unfortunately, I lost that stream, so I've got to go and do this kind of a little bit not bass backwards, but I got to slow it down just a little bit. So here we go. So for those of you who don't know, and I'll bring this up, should be coming up quick. Arcade control panels are not. Oh, it didn't pop up. Okay, cool. So Arcade1Up does, an MDF, half-inch MDF control panel. They make all their stuff out of half-inch MDF. Control panels, arcade accurate control panels, are not made of MDF. Let me show you. This is one of the 2 projects, one of my 2 full-size arcade projects that I had, and turned out really nice. But then I got away from that because it was too big, too expensive. Like everybody, everyone that gets out of it, that's what they say: too big, too expensive. And sadly, that's just kind of what it is. But you can see this is a metal control panel, and it's got a hinge on the bottom, and it swings in place, and you have some locks, some tabs that lock it from the underside on the back side of the cabinet. So the guy has a key. He gets in, to service to service the board or to service the machine itself, and then he can go in the front and get the quarters out. But to unlock this, you have to get in from the backside under the two latches, and then the whole thing can fold forward. But that's metal. So you're talking about 1/8 inch material, let's say, not 1/2 inch thick, 1/8 inch. Now, let me show you something else. So that was, of course, I'm showing you, this is the before. This is when I got it. So I can't just leave you. I can't just, come on. That's, I can't leave it like that, right? So I'll show you a little bit of the after. This is the, that same control panel. Give it a second to load. This is the same control panel, but after I completely blasted it, new artwork, and I'm putting in all new controls. These are not Sanwa controls. These are all HAP. HAP is much taller, and the micro switch is located on the bottom there like that, but it's typically a lot longer. And then it's got the little leg. I'm sure I'm not describing this correctly, but the little prongs, little legs, plastic legs kind of stick out and hold that micro switch in place. That's HAP controls. You can see that these are the sticks here are HAP controls. It's all HAP. Very, very robust, very, very heavy duty. They feel great. They work awesome. But you can see, once again, actually probably a little bit better here. It's all painted white, nice and neat and shiny before I put it in. But you can see the thickness of the material, 1/8 inch. Thickest, I mean, that's about what that is, right? Not 1/2 inch. So what did they do? How in the world did they get those Sanwa control? Not HAP, but Sanwa. Still the same issue, because what Sanwa does is Sanwa has these little plastic spring-loaded clips on the body of the round switch itself. I should have grabbed one. I think I have one somewhere. I should have brought it out. But anyway, the point is you push it down into 1/8 inch thick material, and then those little plastic pieces pop out, and it holds that switch in place. How did they accomplish that? Did they do something crazy? Is the control panel on my my Marvel superheroes, is it some kind of crazy one-off custom? No, it's not. It's not at all. Check this out. So this is the bottom side of it. And you can see the layout looks exactly the same. The buttons look exactly the same. And the joysticks look exactly the same as what you would find on any stock arcade 1-up. That's because the stock arcade 1-up controls they're like Sanwa clones, right? But the buttons don't attach in the same way that the stock arcade 1-up buttons attach more like HAP buttons, where they're threaded and you have a nut on the back, but they're shaped more like Sanwa. Let me show you another picture of, no, not that, cancel, hit the wrong button again. It's better when you have all your slides. Okay, so here's another shot. Here's up close and personal. You see here's what they did. They went around the button where those little plastic clips are, and they did an additional routing. They did the depth, they cut it maybe in half, so it may be 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, maybe too thin. I may be thinking of the thickness could be off, but it's probably more like 1/4 inch, let's say. So that's what they did. You got the standard circle that they had to drill all the way through the panel, and then these notches, these wings on the side. Let me bring up another picture. These wings they have on the side, where's it at? I think that's, no, not that one. I think I have another shot. 4? No, that's going to be a mistake. But anyway, this is probably the best shot that I have. But they did an additional routing, a depth route on either side, so that those tabs can kind of wing out. Those Sanwa tabs can wing out when you press it in and lock it in place. And if you look close, you can kind of see the Sanwa branding on the black part of the switch itself. But other than that, if you've been inside your control panel, it looks fairly similar. Switch over to the encoder. If you're just looking at this part, you think this is just a stock standard, arcade 1-up. No difference at all, because it's very similar to Sanwa. Let's take a look at the joystick. A little bit closer look at the joystick. And you see that it looks very, very similar. And you can, the thing about the Sanwa, though, is you can swap out those gates. You have just a square gate here. You can go to an octagonal gate easily, because they make Sanwa replacements that you can easily just swap those out. It's not so easy when you're talking about knockoff sticks from arcade 1-up. It's not quite the same. When you buy those, if you try to get those Sanwa gates on the bottom, octagonal gates, you have to do a little bit of modification to get them really clip in nice, because they're not really Sanwa. They're not made for that. But you see, you're not looking at something radically different than what you have with the standard with your standard RK1-Up. It looks very similar. You're going to have some additional routing in the control panel itself. That's it. So what's the point? The point is that I think from this point on, moving forward, you want to justify $700, $699, you're going to have to go all Sanwa. And it's not something you can't do. It's not something you haven't done in the past. It's not something that's going to require a radical change when it comes to your control panels. It's just going to be a slight change. I mean, you're going to have to do a little bit of additional routing there. Either that or come up with a new, metal control panel that's thinner. That's up to you. What do you think? I think the wood is probably going to be the cheaper way to go for sure. I understand that. So skimp on that portion of it, but do not skimp on your controls. From now on, RK1-Up, listen to me, moving forward. Let me know in the chat if you agree. Sanwa controls should be standard across the board. You want to make an improvement? I mean, I can deal with a graphic. I can deal with a marquee graphic all day long, no problem. I can 2 screws, take that off. Maybe before I even put the thing together, I'll have the graphic pre-ordered and ready to go. I'll peel the old one off, take some alcohol, clean up all the sticky residue that it leaves behind, because it leaves some, right? But then once that's nice and clean, you put it on, and maybe you cut it a little bit like you saw in my video. And I was honest with you, my cut job wasn't the greatest in the world, but that's it. I mean, I can deal with that. The artwork on the side, I can deal with that. That's fine. As long as it's new and crisp and clean and not just disgusting, fine. I can't do anything really about our control deck. I've made several in the past. They're a little bit wider. You can do some things with it, but I think for me personally, moving forward, here on out, right now, RK1-Up, if you want me to jump on that cabinet for $699, I can't have controls being a problem. I cannot have controls being an issue. Not what I can go on Amazon.com and buy a set of Sanwa sticks for not that much money. In fact, you pull this while I'm thinking about it. Well, I got you here. And let me know. Do a 1 in the chat if you agree, or do a 2 if you disagree. If you think that, not that you disagree with the controls, but if they're going to do one thing, do you agree that controls are the one key thing they need to address, or do you believe it's something else? Do you believe it's a bigger screen? Do you think the screen is more important than the controls? Because I believe that that if you want to make a real difference, and if you really want to justify that price point, you're going to have to $42. $42 for a Sanwa stick and 8 Sanwa buttons. It's a little bit of a cost there. I get it, but it's something you can feel. I'm telling you, if you have this cabinet at home with the Sanwa controls, and I think Justin, I think you're in the chat. What's up, buddy? I think console kits. If you got yours, preach to us. I mean, do you agree? I think the Sanwa makes a big difference. It really does. And if you want to be able to feel the quality, feel the value. That's rephrase that. That's where you go. That's where you start. That's where you should be. Focus on that and begin to build that premium, brand right now, that premium quality experience right now. If you do that, you eliminate, because that's exactly what Twisted said, is like, listen, you're gonna have to swap out the controls. Well, listen, right there, I'm spending $80 now. I gotta get 2 sets, right? I gotta get the buttons, I gotta get the sticks. The on-off switch is fine. The coin door, there's no real button there, it's fine. But I've got to spend $80 right off the bat just to get these controls swapped in. And I've got to do some kind of creative routing on the backside of the MDF to get that right, to get that to fit. And if I got to break out a router to notch every single hole, I need to have a good pattern. I need to know what I'm doing. Do I want to take my brand new KI control board and just go too far and screw it up? What if you get all the holes done? And I'm serious. I'm talking about breaking your heart. Let's say you get all the holes done. You're on the last one. All right, here we go. Last one. And then you make a mistake and you screw it up, or you route too deep and you just mess up the whole board. And then you talk about just a heartbreak because you got the artwork on the other side already. So right now, that's what I think we should do. Sanwa, all the way, baby. Sanwa all the way. But that's just what I feel. That's just my little opinion. Let me jump in here. There he is. It's okay. 10 of the cabs will be Pac-Man. Just buy the other cabs. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we can always look forward to more Pac-Man cabs because nobody can get enough of Pac-Man. Said no one. Tony C. RK1 Up will release Puckman in 2022. Prove me wrong. I can't. I shan't. I won't. I wouldn't put it past him because who knows? Ryan Garber, Merry Christmas. Hope all are well this evening. Absolutely. Hope everyone is well. Jaster Mariel. People want to pay $300 for Wi-Fi, lit marquee, riser, 12 great games, and top quality hardware. Not going to happen. Nobody thinks they're going to get that for $300. Nobody thinks they're going to get that for $300. I think for $500, they've proven it in the past. For $499, I got that cabinet right there for $499. Marvel vs. Capcom with the stool. I didn't want, but it came with some great games. 4 great games, 1 game, but they've done it before for $500. And for $500, I didn't mind substandard controls. For $500, I didn't mind a marquee that isn't quite perfect. The issue from us is, for me, I'm speaking for me. I'm not speaking for anybody else in the chat. I'm speaking for myself. The difference for me is that whenever you make that $200 jump, I want to see some of the quality. And if you're giving me fewer games, I'm still okay with that because I want the games to be consistent. I want them to mesh well with each other. But why the $200 jump is what I want to know. And if you're telling me that it's licensing, I expect any company to absorb that cost. But here's something else for everybody to kind of chew on. We're not talking about just licensing. Did everybody see where they were very proud? RK1 Up is of their new brick and mortar store that they just opened. 2 locations, one in Miami, one in New York. Why? That's all overhead. That's some money right there. Why? Think about it. You and I are paying for that. You want to know where that $200 for each cabinet is? Why? We don't see it in the cabinet. We see it in their increased overhead. I mean, it is what it is. If you think that that's going to sell more cabs and increase your business, that's great. But listen, that's why we're paying. That's why we're paying that, because their costs are going up. My tiny dumb arcade. I've told you about this. We've discussed this. It's not a dumb arcade. It can be tiny, but it doesn't have to be dumb. Just not a big fan of Killer Instinct. Hey, listen, you're not alone in general. So that's why I won't buy it. But it looks great for those who care. Yeah, I mean, if you listen, not every game is for everybody. So the increased number of games means that maybe, just maybe, everybody, even the mild arcade enthusiast will have something to purchase. Shower the marketplace with different titles of consistent quality. My brother Demajana, what's going on? It'd be better if I could actually play my early access Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. Yeah, I think you would be a lot better. I know you're fighting with that, man. That sucks. Pay for the early access. Don't get it. NetUT RK1 Up controls are great enough for 99% of their customers. I agree. For 99% of the customers, they're fine. They're used to it. And, listen, I've pre-ordered 2 cabinets that, the selling point for me was the controls. It wasn't the same old sticks and knobs. Sticks and knobs. Sticks and knobs. That's a different topic. It's something else. That's a movie. Sticks and buttons. It wasn't just that. I have T2 and I have Ridge Racer pre-ordered at that full sticker price, the full $700, because of the improved controls. You're looking at guns that have force feedback, something new that they haven't done before. I think there's some perceived value there. The rumble steering, the steering wheel rumbles, it moves around. That's cool. I want to check that out. It's not just your old standard, buttons. It's just not. So I think that if you really want to keep the customers you have, and sell a premium product, then you have to do better. If you're talking about just fighters across the board, I think you're probably right, Nate. I got to agree with you. For just regular old 6-button fighters or 5-button, if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, these controls are probably going to be okay. But if you continue to move forward with, another cab 6-button fighter, I think that's where you really need to invest in better controls so that it's a difference maker. Because, like I said, I paid $500 for this. I know that was a different year, but it wasn't like that was 10 years ago or 5 years ago. That was just a year ago. So I think that they need to do something to show us that value. And I think if you're talking about this configuration, you got to go Sanwa. You got to. Donuts says controls is one thing, but how the hell? And I went ahead, I filled in the E because I know you're fired up about it. How the hell do you not see a gray washed out marquee? I mean, WTF. They've done better in the past. That's the thing. I mean, they have. Ish. I showed some of the older cabs. The legacy cabs are washed out. I think it's about on par. To me, it looks like it's about on par with the legacy cab because where the big blue, I've said that it was washed out, but watching my video again, looking at the black in the center of the logo is not washed out. The image is a little dull, but that could just be because of that gray color and the lack of backlight. Because with that big marquee on big blue, you still have the single LED strip instead of maybe two, to really increase that. So I guess I thought that they were sort of trending in a better direction, because as far as marquee clarity and depth and contrast, it was better. It actually was better. I got somebody in the chat saying that it's perfect. Who said that? Put you on the spot. Who said that? Did I miss it? No, it's down lower. I like I said, looking back at it now and looking back at the actual video itself, the contrast isn't bad. I think it's still dull, but maybe washed out is not a fair critique of that marquee. Maybe it's not. But yeah, anyway, so MG says Rainwater $4.99 plus $42, still a lot less than $6.99 sticker price. That's true. If you're talking about a single player experience, you're only gonna pay $42 for those Sanwa controls. Bones McCoy says, I don't want Sanwa anyway, so why would I pay more for that? I guess that's true, but I think my point is, Bones, you're still paying more. They're jacking up the price on us anyway. It's 6.5 and one, half a dozen in the other. Either lower the price and give us that same exact experience, or if you're going to increase the price, increase the quality of the experience. That's just where I'm at. Moving on to Tron. So Tron is going to be it's a down and dirty. I got I got some questions for you, and I got some thoughts about this. So I think everybody, and it's Tron was something that on paper I could easily pull back from. And I saw a lot of other people in the community just sort of Tron's nice, but I'm not a big fan of the game. And I'm fine. It's good. And then the renders came out. I'm like, yeah, we don't really know how it's going to look. And then some of the updated renders came out, and we saw the FCC filings, and people were like, well, I'm not real big on that. It's fine. Whatever. It's Tron. And then the cabinets started to come out, and the lights and the shiny. It's like a redneck in a bass boat. That's why they paint it with sparkle paint, with glitter, big flakes in it. People are like, oh, I got to have a bass boat. I think it was like that. It's like a big, bright, shiny thing. All of a sudden, people that were like, nah, I don't care. It's Tron. It's fine. Blacklight's probably going to suck. All of a sudden, they lost their minds and they started buying these things up left, right, and center. FOMO is real, kids. FOMO is real. So my question to you is, did you get the FOMO? Did you go buy it? Listen, last week our poll was about Tron. That show's poll was about Tron. Hey, you going to buy it now? You seen it? Are you? And I think it was like 70%. We're like, nah, I'm good. I don't think that, but then like 30, I think the wall's obviously at 30-something%. Like, yeah. I still feel exactly the same. The only difference is that I think that perhaps they exceeded some of my expectation when it came to Tron, because I was curious about the black light, because I haven't really got LED black lights before. I didn't know if that was going to be a good recreation of that experience. How was the black light paint going to be applied and all that? But it looked great, and the black light effect works well. And they've got the added the panel in front that's all lit up. So, I mean, I think they did a good job. But I'm still good. I don't want it. I don't think I wanted it $500. That's just me. I just don't. I just for me, it didn't move the needle. But I saw a lot of people who it really did, and the rationale was, man, it's pretty, and it is. It's a good looking cab. Looks great. It's pretty, but really, I don't get that. So I think so. Here's where I'm at. I am Switzerland. I'm completely neutral. I'm good. I'm sitting here on the island, and I'm like, hey, I don't want no problem with nobody. Everybody's good. So I have no regret. And I think there's probably a lot of people like me, maybe they just have no regret. But I'm curious if we've got some buyer's regret. And I think that we also have some non-buyer's regret. But I think let me comment on that. The non-buyer regret is probably reduced because there's still cabinets available. They didn't sell out. You can still go to multiple vendors if you're willing to pay that price, and you can pay that price, you'll be good to go. So I think that there is a slight bit of non-buyer regret, but it's kind of small because you can easily, you can go ahead and get it. You can pick it up at the same price and it's fine. I think that the percentage of buyer's regret is going to grow. The new is still there. It hasn't wore off yet, but I think we're talking about a cab that when it comes time to next year, if these rumors are true, let's say they're going to come out with 15 to 20 more cabs next year. More than one cab a month, more than one new cab every single month. There's bound to be several that you got to have. And I think about poor Michael B. He's going to have to buy a second house. Jason over at the third floor arcade, where you're going to have a fourth floor. You're going to have to add on to I don't even know. Do you dig a basement? What do? You got to find another floor if you're going to buy all of the cabinets, because I just don't think that it's nothing I'm going to do. Nothing I'm going to do. I had 2 first-gen cabs, and I'm down to 1, and that one is my mod baby. That's what I do for my testing and stuff. I've moved on past all my first gens, and it's all 3rd gen and up for me. It's actually mostly 3rd gen. I got some 4th gen coming. I'm excited, but there's just no way. So, I think you're going to have some people that they see what's coming down the pipe. Rainwater says Jason needs a 4th floor. Yes, he does. Or another wing or something, make the 3rd floor bigger. So I think you're going to have a lot. I think what exists right now is some substantial buyer's remorse for Tron. I think it's going to grow. I think it's absolutely going to grow. And I think that while they won't admit it now, they will be admitting it soon, because the question is going to be asked on many, many channels. So what are you going to have to say? You're going to get this one, you get that one. Yeah, but I got to sell this. I got to sell that. And it's not going to go well. So I am neglecting the chat. I'm sorry. I got on started preaching there. Because there's that one. I got the $10. I already talked about that. Let me scroll down here. I do apologize. I get to talking. You know how it goes. And you skip some really important chats, some important messages that I shouldn't be doing. No excuse. I see a lot. See, here we go. We got a MG with a 3. I didn't even ask for that. Wasn't even an option, but he's going to put it in there anyway because he's a badass. A lot of ones, some 2s. So it's a mixed bag. I think majority of them, they're 1s. Lots of 1s. Faux show. Yep, absolutely. So, I think that's where we're at. Like I say, I have no remorse at all whatsoever. Do you have remorse? Or not remorse, but regret? Do you have regret? Did you miss out on something? Okay. Sorry, I was scrolling forever. It's crazy. But I got it now. Here we go. Hobby Hands for $10. Fox, you inspired me. No, I didn't. I am doing some major overhauls of my arcade room, spending cash ching on my arcade room instead of another arcade. Glad Killer Instinct is not a favorite of mine. Must have, or I would be in trouble. Love my Tron. Well, there you go. You got somebody right there who is also Switzerland. While they bought it, they're happy. And no remorse, no regrets, no second guessing for Hobby Hands. And I'm glad to hear it. And I hope that everybody, when you get your cab, that's exactly how you feel. Man, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I really appreciate it, but I'm sorry. I got to send you to the pit.
Finish him.
Fatality.
I hate it when I got somebody in my chat who dies. It's horrible. Hate to see it. Adam Montgomery for $5. Fox, there are a lot of great YouTubers making decent home arcade live streams, but yours is the only one that is still a must-watch. Mortal Kombat fan for vid. Absolutely. Thank you. That is high praise. Really do appreciate it. And I mean, if you're an MK fan, I got a little something for you. But just be you might need a jacket. You might want to bundle up because it's going to get a little chilly.
Finish him. Finish him. Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Another fatality. We lost another great one. Adam is in the pit. Or no, he's not in the pit. Adam's not in the pit. Adam is in the acid. The pool of acid. It's horrible. Nate, you for $1.99. More importantly, and here's a question. Very important question. Eggnog and bourbon or no? Got to be honest with you. I haven't tried it. But you know what? This year, Nate, this year I'm going to do it, and I'm going to report back because I owe it to you. Yeah, that's actually a combination I have not tried. I really tend to just stay away from eggnog. It wasn't big in the South where I came from, but up here near Cincinnati, it is more of a thing. And I will this year for you. I will partake. Thank you so much for the $1.99 super chat. And let's see. Good. Oh, you know what? Because in honor of Killer Instinct, here you go. What? Come on, listen. If you're not a Killer Instinct fan, you gotta think that's badass, right? That's pretty cool. Big Reese says, "Yeah, I need to build a bigger arcade room already." Sad but true. I think that's a real problem they're gonna have. You keep coming up with this stuff. Snowdub in the chat, killing it, man. Thank you. I do appreciate you, brother. Follow me on Instagram. I got some goofy stuff over there. Not just arcade related, but mostly arcade related. I had a had a weird video today with a shop vac, cleaning up my mess, and got to spice it up somehow. But yeah, definitely follow me on Instagram. I do appreciate it. I'm also doing a lot of dropping behind the scenes stuff too on a lot of my projects, so you get to see a little sneak peek of what's going to happen on the next project, on the next video. P-Dubs, what's going on, brother? How you doing? No regrets or FOMO for Tron. I've held the line. You, like me, are Switzerland. Happy to see owners are overall loving it. So living vicariously through their majority excitement. Absolutely. Yeah, listen. And while I think that the buyer's regret is there and is going to be on the rise, I hope that it's minimal, because that means that a lot of people are happy with their purchase, and that's for sure. Corey Coffee, what's going on? Not sure I've seen you before. Thanks for stopping by. I would like to see reboots of cabinets with better controls and 19-inch screens. If you're talking about a Pro line, there you go. I think there's been some rumblings about that. Talking about that Pro line, they could revisit those things, but there's got to be that, that we talk about that perceived value, right? Well, there you go. $700. Okay, give me Street Fighter again with a 19-inch monitor with better speakers, all that, better controls, and all of a sudden, I'm not so mad at you. I'm okay with it. Clax29, I will not be getting the Tron, but if it came with Gorf and Satan's Hollow, then maybe. So you're telling me there's a chance. You're telling me there's a shot. Okay, next in the queue, we got a little something to talk about. I want to fly. Everybody wants to. I mean, listen, Superman, his greatest power is that he can fly. Well, the laser beam eyes are pretty cool. And the super strength is really good too. But you get my point though. Flying, everybody wants to fly. Everybody wants to fly. And when it comes to Arcade 1-Up, I got a need for speed. I want to fly. And I think that is the next area we need to talk about. That's where we need to go when we're talking about those controls. We talk about those those specific controls for that specific arcade experience. If we're talking about that $700 range, we got the shooters. We got a great shooter coming up with Terminator 2. I'm super excited about that. Ridge Racer is something I'm personally stoked about. I like that. I like that franchise a ton. But where do they go from here? I think they need a flight stick game. Now, flight stick games. We're talking about this. We're talking about that. What do you think of when you think of a flight game? What could they possibly? What's a great arcade classic? I think that if I took a poll, if I took a vote, I think everybody, it's going to be somewhere. It's going to be Afterburner. So this is what we need. We'll start with this, and then give me this for 700, and I'll be happy. Okay, we're not going to get this, but for context, this is definitely the arcade experience, right? This is exactly what we want. This is exactly what we've always wanted. Give us this. Well, I'm sorry. Listen, we're not going to get this for $1,000. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen, but it is very, very cool. The times I spent in that, man, it's just so amazing. You felt like you were in Top Gun. But realistically, we're talking about this form factor right here. This is it. I think this is where you need to go. This is it. Let's look at Afterburner 3. What's this slide? Oh yeah, I just had this. This was I should have used this one first actually. Afterburner, the arcade classic, but this is the form factor I think we're talking about right here. Very unique cabinet design. You could see this in an arcade one-up form factor, right? You could see them pulling this off. Think of what they're doing with Ridge Racer, with that upright marquee. Think about what they've done. They're doing currently with that steering wheel. You got the shifter on the side. Same exact thing, except that joystick is not going to be traditionally mounted like it is on the Tron cabinet. This joystick is different. Will we get that joystick, that mechanism, that up and down, left and right with the stick that way? I'm not sure. I would love that. I really would. That would be awesome. I don't know if we're going to get that mechanic. I think we may be stuck with the flight stick from Tron. Same thing, reskinned. It won't be clear. It'll be black or whatever, silver maybe, and that's it. But I think you get your thruster on the left and right. So I think this is definitely probably what we would, if I was going to bet money, this is what they're going to go with first. If it's flight stick money we're betting, I'm going with Afterburner as my number one. It's probably going to happen. So there's Afterburner. I think everybody, let me know what you think. Tony, listen, my love for Road Blasters is real. Stop bringing it up. I get distracted. Road Blasters is another topic for another time, because I've done driving games, I've done shooters. I need my flight game. I need my flight stick arcade fix. I got to have it. So I got to have that. So I think Afterburner is almost a given. That's probably where they're going to go first. What's the number two? So we had Outrun for the first racing cab, driving cab. We're going to have Afterburner for sure, for the first flight game, I would imagine. Donuts, you say, thank God for Affirm. Yes. Affirm, PayPal. These are all great things to try to avoid this stuff. So we got Afterburner, but what's the number two? So if number two was Ridge Racer, what do I think the number two flight game would be? Well, let's talk about it. Let's bring this up here. Excuse me. So when we speculated about Ridge Racer and the games list and what it was going to be, I brought this up. This is your Namco System 22. So all the games on the System 22, and I brought that up because Ridge Racer was within this system, this library of games. And my camera is not focusing. So there it is. So you had all these games here. We were talking about, this game and that game, and the games in yellow is what we got, but I wanted the two games in green. That's why I wanted to add those two. I wanted to have a nice big cabinet. I really wanted Dirt Dash. What else is on this list? You see right there, you got Air Combat 22. Air Combat 22. Does he have a slide for Air Combat 22? Of course I have a slide for Air Combat 22. What are you talking about? And here it is right here. If you're looking at if you want to see a nice screenshot of what you can expect from Air Combat 22, look no further than right here, or this may look kind of familiar to you if you have a PlayStation and if you've ever played Ace Combat. That's kind of what this game eventually became. More of a flight simulator than, Afterburner was. This was definitely designed with realism involved, kind of similar to what we're seeing. Maybe not so much realism, but more of a 3D polygonal game in regards to I got to get rid of some of my slides. Remove that. I have too many slides in the queue. I apologize, but definitely much more of a realistic game. 3D polygonal, similar to the Ridge Racer game. So if you compare Ridge Racer to Outrun, that's kind of the same comparison. You would have this Air Combat 22. I believe that's the designation of the system it's on, is why they got the 22 there. So I think that would be the difference, right? And if you liked Ace Combat, I think you're really going to like this game. This is, of course, the granddaddy. This is the father of that original of Ace Combat, which is just ended up being a great series that continued on until PS4. I know it was on PS3. I believe it. Maybe its last iteration was on PS4. But here's another slide here. Now, if we're talking about the cabinet, what would the cabinet look at? What are we talking about? What's the hardware? What would that look like? Well, as soon as this loads up, come on, baby. Come on, the internet. We're going to take a look at the cabinets, and the cabinet style is going to be a big departure from what we've seen with Afterburner. Still loading. Give it some time. Let me remove some of the other stuff in the studio. Where is image? It's coming. Give it time. No, I'm not on Wi-Fi. Come on. Where's it at? Anyway, so you're talking about, as that's loading, we'll talk about it. So you're talking about, obviously, a much more flight simulator type game. So we're not talking about just your standard stick in a thruster. And, it really was kind of crazy. Let me try to reload this again. It was kind of nuts when you think about the gameplay mechanic of Afterburner. It's not a simulator. Not really, it's not really at all. Let me just try to, I'm trying to load that up again. It's not realistic, but of course neither was Outrun for a racing game either. And that's okay. That's fine. Come on, load up. Let's try this again. But it was definitely much more of a simulator. So it had a very elaborate setup. It was huge. It was massive. So I don't think that they can do that. I don't think that we need another sit down version of their RK1-Up's cabinets. They don't really translate very well. I mean, I don't know about you, but I never played the sit down version of Outrun, but I wasn't really impressed with it at all. Not even like a little bit. So it wasn't comfortable. And I don't know how you would, I guess you could sort of pull off the thruster on the side, like a shifter down low, but that wasn't the approach they took with the stand-up version of Outrun. And it could have been because they wanted to easily recreate that with the stand-up version, the sit-down version. They want to just keep all the controls exactly the same and just change out the riser, because I guess that made a lot more sense. Yeah, I'm sure it did. As far as, I'm just reloading this picture. Hopefully it'll load. But yeah, it was definitely just sort of a mass-produced kind of that was the money was obviously where they were kind of focused on, is just sort of, we'll just swap out the riser and there you go. So I don't necessarily want that, but this is what I'm talking about. So you had a fairly complex, this is, flight simulation was the focus of this cabinet. So we're talking about, I don't want this in a pro line. I think you can do this. I think you can pull this off in a similar form factor than what we've seen from like the Ridge Racer. But part of me is like, I kind of want them to take a crack at a sit-down version of this, but it's got to be done right. So I don't know if they could make a real investment and really good jump into the controls and really give you a decent seat, I would be all about this. But I don't know. I'm kind of worried that maybe they would go cheap again, and it just wouldn't have the exact same experience, because that shifter, or not the shifter, but the thruster on the left and right, is going to take a lot of abuse back and forth. which is maybe why they decided just to keep it on the control panel itself, on the actual cabinet. But yeah, this is kind of, I mean, this looks so cool, and it obviously it couldn't be this elaborate. But you see, the emphasis of this cabinet was definitely on flight simulation. What games are going to come on it? We talk about value all the time, right? I don't know if you're going to put anything else on this. I think that you're talking about Ace Combat. The sequel to this was on a different. I think it was on System 23. It was the next system, so it was a technological leap. I guess it's not that it's not possible. You could definitely do it, but I would be concerned about, their PCB being able to pull it off. You're going to have to jump up the PCB, I think, to make this work. But then again, I think if they're going to do it, they tend to get a lot of things wrong. Marquees, controls. Some of the artwork is not quite right, but the emulation so far, I mean, I can't think of a big miss when it comes to the emulation. So could they do it? Yes. Could they do it for $700? I believe so. I think that you're going to get a similar experience to Ridge Racer. So I think you're going to have a thruster lever mounted on the cabinet. You're probably going to get the Tron, flight stick, which means it's just going to be parallel, and that would work fine on the or the Air Combat, but it's not going to work well, I think, for the the Afterburner. You're going to have that up and down to really mimic that. But that's a big. If you've ever seen one of those, like have you ever seen it out of the cabinet? That's a big, bulky piece of metal, So, I'm not sure that they could pull it off, but I really want to see it. So that's where I think they need to go. That's absolutely where I think they need to go. The next step is going to be, if we're talking about 2022, what kind of games are they going to have? What do I want to see? I don't want to see any more fighters. With the exception of, I guess, Marvel versus Capcom 2 would be awesome, but that's kind of a stretch. I think we know about the legal battles there. It's going to be a tough one. So, I'm not we're talking about 20 cabinets. If they come out, they're going to have some fighters in there, but I really am not interested in a fighter out there. I don't know that I'm interested in a beat 'em up. There's some beat 'em ups for sure, but I want that play mechanic. And the only play mechanic that we really don't have yet is going to be a flight simulator. So I think it's where you go. You got the shooters, you got the driving cabs, and now it's time for a flight simulator. We got to have that flight stick. And that could translate well into like a Hydro Thunder. So you're talking about, that same mechanic is kind of present with the Hydro Thunder. You've got that thruster, which is really just like a high-low. You got the steering wheel. But I think the two could work well together, kind of mimic each other. I don't know. That's just me. But tell me what you think in the comment section. What do you think about this? Does this make sense to you? Do you want to see a flight game? Is there something else you're dying for? Vic, here's just for 2022. I want a Pro line with popular titles like Q*bert, Spy Hunter, and Robotron, better controls and speakers with more accurate CAD design, and light up coin doors. What are you willing to pay for that, Vic? Let me know. Comment real quick. Let me know. What are you willing to pay for that? There's that paywall. I think there's a line. And we talked about this with the $500 price point. We've gone beyond that now. Now we're talking about breaking a new barrier. Are we talking about breaking that $1,000 price point? Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to pay more than $1,000 for a Pro line? I don't know that I am. Dude, Third Strike, Alpha Series, CVS Series, no fighters. No. There's plenty of fighters out there, but if you're looking... If I'm looking at the next cabinet to purchase for $700, I want a different control scheme. I'm not saying there's not a lot of great fighters out there that could happen. The Alpha Series will be great. I've talked about that a lot. An Alpha Anthology cabinet is what I want. It's one of my wants. Alpha 1, 2 gold, and 3. And then you could put like Pocket Fighter on there or something. Put all the Alphas on there. That's great. But what's really going to move the needle for me and get me to spend another $700 is a different control scheme. I want variety in my arcade. I don't want just a bunch of fighters. I would be more prone to swap out a fighter for another fighter. I've got Marvel vs. Capcom. If I had, I've got I've got the Midway Legacy, but if they come, this is a perfect example. I've got the Midway Legacy as it's acting as my Mortal Kombat cabinet. If they come out with a better Mortal Kombat cabinet, Mortal Kombat 3, maybe if they've got, if that's the focus of the cabinet, a little bit better, different cabinet design, dude, I'm pulling my Legacy and I'm getting I'm getting that Mortal Kombat cabinet. That's what I'm doing. Holy crap, we got a celebrity in the house. Twisted Gaming TV for the 1999 Super Chat. Just coming by to say hello. Keep up the good work. Twisted, brother, thank you so much. Thanks again. The community thanks you for that review. Really helps a lot of people, I think, make that decision. And, man, thank you so much for the $20 Super Chat. And I got to give you something a little bit special. Let me give, well, in honor of Killer Instinct, I'm not sure who your favorite character is, but I'm going to go with the standard Jay.
I'm afraid your path ends here.
Appreciate it again, man, for the $20 Super Chat. Really do appreciate it. Love the review. I think a lot of us really did, and it's good to get that perspective of somebody who really knows the hardware. Not so much the hardware, but the emulation. It's got to be correct. And we knew that if guys like you gave your stamp of approval, it was actually worth considering at that $700 price point. And, when we're talking about $700, that's no little chunk of change. I don't care how much money you're making. $700 is still $700. Well, would you look at that?
What the hell?
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up.
We're going to wrap it up here. The glass is empty, so it's time to wrap it up. Let's check out the poll real quick. And the poll question was, now that Twisted's review is out, who's going to pre-order Killer Instinct at $6.99? Did this move the needle for you in either way? We got 27% said, you know what? Yeah. The emulation was the key. And now that I know that that's good, I'm going to go ahead and pre-order this thing at $6.99. 73% are like, no, I'm still not going to pay that heavy price tag. And that's where I'm at. I think I like the look of the cab. I probably go as far as say I love the look of the cab. I'm glad the emulation is on point. I think it's obviously got those same flaws that we're used to as RK1-Up, those issues, the sound issues, the marquee issues, the controls issues. Until I know that I can get a good, solid fix for that, when those things are taken care of, I'll do a little more jumping on day one. But as of day one, as a pre-order, as of $700, I'm not doing it. But I'm going to look forward to that second SKU that it's going to happen. And it's going to be $500-ish, $550 or less. I'm all in. But if you're watching this on replay, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Is that where you're going to be at? Are you done? Are you out? Are you finished with RK1-Up and at $700, you're just going to go find a full-size KI cab? Hey, thank everybody so much for stopping by. Enjoy, I guess, the hours left of your weekend before you got to go back to work. Looking forward to Christmas. The rest of the holiday season is going to be awesome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Y'all have a blessed day. I will see you. Oh, wait, before I go, I almost did my outro. Console Kits, Justin, head over to his channel. He's having an after party. The after party is at his place. So, I am the not the Jay Leno. I don't want to be Jay Leno. Who do I want to be? I don't want to be Jay Leno, but I am I'm the other guy. I'm the other guy on the ABC channel. He's my Johnny Carson. So anyway, thank you so much for stopping by. Swing by, check out Console Kits for the after party, and I will see you next time. Peace.